Air Force Captain Scott O'Grady tells the amazing and emotional story of his rescue in Bosnia. While in New Hampshire, House Speaker Gingrich heads toward a public face-off tomorrow with President Clinton. This is the CBS Evening News. And this is Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. So did Scott O'Grady, the American pilot who was shot down behind Serbian lines, see himself as another Rambo during that 6 days he eluded capture? Well, no, he said today. He really felt more like a scared bunny rabbit. The modest young airman still looked tired today from his ordeal, but he was in a great humor as he talked with reporters in Italy before heading on to Washington in a big White House welcome on Monday. Cindy Kennard has our report.
Still weak from his ordeal, Air Force Captain Scott O'Grady was ready to tell his own incredible story today. But before that, he relived the moments of his rescue, hearing for the first time his dramatic radio exchange with the Marine pilot who located him in the woods of Bosnia.
Basher 5-2, this is Basher 1-1. You're loud and clear.
When I heard his voice, kind of recognized his voice as a very weak Scott O'Grady. I was going to ask him a question that no one else would know other than he or one of his close friends.
What was your squadron in Korea?
True that.
Copy that, you're alive. Good to hear your voice.
Okay, if there's no questions, we're going to go ahead and end the press
Once he
conference.
regained his composure, he recalled his brush with death as a Bosnian Serb missile shot his F-16 out of the sky.
The only thing I saw was the cockpit disintegrating in front of me with the fire all around me and this beautiful gold handle in between my legs, where it's the ejection handle. I was in the parachute for an extremely long time. I had a military truck sitting there waiting for me. I had other cars waiting for me, so I knew that they knew I was there.
He had just seconds to run and hide, successfully eluding capture for 6 days.
The worst point was the first day. It was when I was on the ground and everybody was walking around me, and the fact that it wasn't so much that they were walking around me, because I had somebody walking around me every day, was that they were shooting. So that they were shooting their rifles. I think maybe they thought they saw something that was me and were trying to kill me.
O'Grady said he constantly craved nourishment and water.
My feet were really wet, and so I took off my wool socks and I tried to get some water out of that and drank a little bit of that, but I couldn't get much out of it. I did eat some leaves, and then from there was an ant pile by where I was bedded down one time, and stuck my finger in there, tried to get at them, and boy, they scamper really quickly, so it's hard to catch them.
He rested during the day and moved only under the cover of darkness. Then radio contact and a rescue helicopter.
What do they see coming out of there is this guy with a huge beard and a 9mm pistol with an orange hat running at him, going for broke, and I stopped and I didn't know what to do, and no, I'm not here. All I was a scared little bunny rabbit just trying to hide and trying to survive.
Survive and fly again.
I love what I do, and I'm going to continue to do it.
O'Grady is still deciding whether that includes flying once again over war-torn Bosnia. Cindy Kennard, CBS News, Aviano Air Base, Italy.
Defense Secretary William Perry says that more U.S. radar jamming jets may be sent to protect NATO warplanes over Bosnia. He also denounced today the House vote to lift the arms embargo there. In Sarajevo, UN peacekeepers are trying to redefine their mission. Alan Pizzi now with that.
The runway that was the backbone of the UN effort here has sat useless for a record 9 weeks, and the UN concedes it has little chance of reopening soon. UN warehouses in Bosnia are virtually empty, but humanitarian aid moves only at the whim of the Bosnian Serbs. They seized 6 UN trucks with 60 tons of food this week on the pretext that ammunition was hidden in wheat flour.
This is not the first time that convoys have been blocked. If we're going back to the status quo ante, that means we will be seeing a lot of convoys blocked again.
But that's exactly what the UN has decided to do.
The aim is to return to the status quo ante.
That means relying on the goodwill of the Bosnian Serbs instead of forcing aid through. But broken Bosnian Serb promises are as common as shells here. A former UN official says there's only one alternative.
If you want to get around this problem and you want to try to impose aspects of a solution on the ground, you have to be willing to move towards an enforcement operation. You can't get around this problem simply by negotiations.
In spite of previous negotiations with the UN, the Bosnian Serbs have cut electricity and gas supplies to Sarajevo. So wells are being drilled in the middle of the city to supply water for more than 300,000 people trapped here. There is a growing sense that the UN mission is floundering in disarray, and it's time to either get tough or get out. The UN leadership is opting for none of the above. For more than 3 years, this airport functioned as proof of the world's commitment to help the victims of the madness here. Today, it is a monument to the failure of international will. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Sarajevo.
The president may not have been entirely serious when he suggested yesterday that if House Speaker Gingrich really wanted to learn about New Hampshire, he should join him when he goes there tomorrow. But of course, Gingrich, who knows a thing or two about finding the spotlight, accepted immediately. And so tomorrow, after the president makes a commencement speech at Dartmouth, Gingrich will join him at a senior citizen picnic in Claremont. As for today, Gingrich, who says he is not running for president but is just touring New Hampshire, had plenty to do on his own. Linda Douglas reports.
The hoopla surrounding Newt Gingrich's non-campaign for president became even more frenzied today, and the stakes got even higher. A face-to-face meeting with President Clinton before a local senior citizens group tomorrow.
You running for president, Mr. Speaker?
No. Gingrich had pushed hard for a bigger audience, describing the encounter with the president in grandiose terms.
Because we think when you have two people of national stature coming together like that, it's such a historic moment that we shouldn't keep it restricted.
Will the face-off between Mr. Clinton and non-candidate Gingrich be the first official debate of the presidential season?
Let me say, first of all, I don't want to have any debate with the president. I want to have a dialogue. I don't think we need to debate. We don't need to score points off each other.
Going head-to-head with the president will climax 4 days of astounding political theater. Gingrich told a sold-out $600 a plate conservative audience last night that he's trying to attract media attention to get his message out. He charged the press distorts his position on issues like Medicare.
The liberal establishment of the Washington press corps says, well, what if they cut $200 billion? That is a lie.
In his hour-long speech, Gingrich claimed the official Republican candidates for president welcome his trip here, suggesting they will follow his lead.
And the truth is, Bob Dole thinks it's fine that I'm up here because he understands what I'm doing. I'm trying to shape the entire language and ideas of the 1996 campaign.
Hi, Terry.
Hi.
The attention on Gingrich may be good for the other candidates, like Tennessee Governor Lamar Alexander, who might go weeks without seeing a TV camera.
Oh, I think it's terrific for him to be here.
Gingrich is relishing his encounter with the president, though it could backfire because the audience of seniors may attack his plans to shrink Medicare. But it's worth the risk for Gingrich because it adds weight to his claim that he is on equal footing with the president. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Manchester, New Hampshire.
And still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the arrest of a notorious Colombian drug lord and how some hospitals are cutting costs with fewer nurses and more nurses' aides.
Efferdent kills 4 million bacteria brushing can leave behind. That's right, 4 million. So every time you brush, clean with Efferdent. Efferdent. Every time, every day.
Discover the first in a unique class of pain reliever, Zostrix. Even though prescriptions have never been required, doctors prescribe the Zostrix brand more than all other topical arthritis pain relievers combined. Zostrix, physician strength relief, is in your hands.
The investigation into Oldsmobile continues. Recently, we infiltrated this school where Oldsmobile allegedly teaches the latest sales techniques. No, like how to become more knowledgeable, more helpful, how to answer questions thoroughly and politely. Basically, how to become a PhD in customer satisfaction. We would agree, but as we also learned, it's not polite to point out the shortcomings of others. It's your money.
My husband, who is a dentist, would just love this mouthwash.
Now, for the first time, the baking soda and peroxide dentists recommend are yours in a mouthwash. New Mentadent Dual Action Mouthwash.
He highly recommends baking soda and peroxide.
As they combine, Mentadent's dual action helps kill odor and break down plaque.
It tastes really good. My breath feels very fresh. My mouth feels really clean.
New Mentadent dual action mouthwash. Take good care of your mouth.
Wait till I get this home.
Soldiers are patrolling the streets of Bogota, Colombia, following the surprise capture yesterday of the leader of the Cali drug cartel. Why? Because officials are worried about possible reprisals by members of the world's largest drug ring. Troy Roberts has a report.
The arrest of Gilberto Rodriguez Orihuela set off a frenzy in Colombia's capital city. After eluding authorities for years, an elite police force guided by U.S. intelligence captured Rodriguez as he hid in a secret closet in his home. Colombia President Ernesto Samper declared the arrest the unraveling of the Cali cartel, while U.S. federal officials suggest the capture may help staunch the flow of drugs into this country.
It has a very measured and very meaningful impact on the Cali cartel leadership, which translates as well to impact on the rest of the organization's ability to distribute cocaine in the United States and elsewhere.
The Cali cartel is believed to have supplied 80% of the world's cocaine. Rodriguez built the drug empire by infiltrating Colombia's political institutions. President Samper had been accused of taking millions from the Cali cartel to finance his election, straining relations with the White House, which had grown impatient with Colombia's sluggish anti-narcotics effort. But a presidential spokesperson says these latest developments have allayed those concerns. The arrest is Colombia's strongest victory in the war on drugs since Medellin cartel boss Pablo Escobar surrendered to authorities 4 years ago. But this week's success may be limited as associates of the drug cartel jostle for position to run Colombia's most profitable enterprise. Troy Roberts, CBS News, New York.
In the Middle East, Secretary of State Christopher says that Syrian and Israeli military officers have agreed to get back to bargaining about the Golan Heights. He also said President Clinton would be willing to return to the region to help finalize the peace. Jesse Schulman has our report on that.
Secretary of State Christopher arrived in Damascus, his 13th Mideast shuttle mission, looking luckier than most. In a 3-hour meeting with Syrian leader Hafez Assad, Christopher got final agreement to resume high-level military talks between Israel and Syria, talks that broke down 6 months ago. It was a small but significant piece of progress.
Now you have the leaders of the two countries saying, we're going to send our top person, our military leader, to Washington, D.C. to engage in face-to-face conversations.
Their assignment will be the Golan Heights, the strategic plateau Israel captured from Syria in 1967. They're to start hammering out security arrangements like demilitarized zones and early warning stations. Prime Minister Rabin says this is tank land, not holy land, meaning if the price is right and the security arrangements secure enough, Syria could get it back. And for the first time, the tough guy posturing has been softened by optimism all around, even from the ever low-key Secretary of State.
There's a much better mood. I must say there are difficult problems ahead, but as far as the prospects for peace, I would say they were substantially enhanced.
Those prospects are also enhanced by the calendar. Next year is an election year in Israel and the U.S. Christopher says both sides now realize they haven't got forever to make peace. Jesse Schulman, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
The United States and North Korea announced a tentative agreement today in their nuclear talks, but a top U.S. official warned there is no final deal yet. The North has balked at accepting new reactors, which produce less weapons-grade plutonium than the reactors the North has now.
This helps diagnose arthritis. To effectively relieve the minor pain of arthritis, use this, Advil. Advil works directly at the site of pain. It's fast and gentler to your stomach than aspirin. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Don't you wish we could just do this to air pollution? In a way we can. If homes and industries, power plants and vehicles would just switch to natural gas. Clean, economical, natural gas. Think what we'll save.
This summer, you're going to believe in ghosts. Presenting the Casper Ghost Hunt Sweepstakes at Econo Lodge. If you find Casper's uncles,
Way to go!
Bone bag! You'll win one of thousands of prizes, like trips to Universal Studios Hollywood and Florida. Find Casper and win the grand prize.
Hi, I'm Casper!
$250,000. Play the Casper Ghost Hunt Sweepstakes this summer at Econo Lodge.
Wake up. Remember we decided to start our morning walk today?
Can't wait.
Wake up to naturally decaffeinated Folgers with the richness of mountain-grown beans and all the aroma and taste of regular Folgers. In fact, if you didn't know Folgers decaffeinated was decaffeinated.
You know, with all these changes, I'm glad we didn't switch to decaffeinated. Nothing wakes me up like this.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Even decaffeinated.
Just needed to wake up.
I know, honey.
I'm Charles Osgood with something unique. This woman is crazy about salmon, and she'll go just about anywhere to capture one on film. Her story this Sunday morning.
Former New York Yankee Mickey Mantle was taken out of intensive care today, 2 days after his liver transplant surgery. Doctors at Baylor University Medical Center in Dallas say Mantle has passed the most dangerous period and is now in stable condition. As part of the ongoing drive to curb medical costs, more and more hospitals are hiring lower-paid nurses' aides to do some of the work registered nurses used to do. It saves money, but it's got some people worried, and Diana Olick has a report.
May I help you? I just need Suzanne in that room. Suzanne,
Harula doesn't know what's wrong.
Suzanne, he turned a little blue.
But here at Boston Children's Hospital, Harula is not expected to know what's wrong. She's the clinical assistant, which in this program requires 5 to 10 weeks of training. Suzanne is the registered nurse, but Harula makes about half as much money as Suzanne.
It's clearly a wave of the future that we're going to see different people interacting with patients, providing a different level of service.
How you feeling, honey? Fine.
Service which simply costs less. And that's the bottom line, since insurance companies are forcing shorter hospital stays, which in turn leave hospitals with fewer patients and less money.
It's a substitution for the non-nursing parts of what the nurse had assumed responsibility for, not the nursing care.
Are you familiar with the short stay documentation now that we've started that? A little bit.
But all nurses' aid programs are not the same. At a different Boston area hospital, Mary Mayer assists Bonnie Grady. She was thrown right in the mix, asked to do medical procedures for which she had no training.
I didn't learn a lot about medicine or nursing, and it was mainly how to make a bed and how to help a patient to a chair, and it was very minimal.
The American Nurses Association says some hospitals are simply taking the nurses' aid programs too far.
They are suturing head wounds in the emergency room. They are putting tubes into patients that rather than go into the stomach where they belong, they go into the lung. And when that happens, patients can get pneumonia and they can die.
Thousands from the ANA protested in Washington, D.C. last March, citing their own study, which found more accidents and medical errors in hospitals where the registered nursing staffs are reduced.
Industry analysts figure that programs like this one nationwide could save the healthcare industry $2 billion a year. And many also say that most patients don't notice the difference between registered nurses and nurses' aides. Others say that's precisely the problem.
And it wasn't just the patients who were confused. I wear the same uniform as the nurses. There were doctors who were confused.
That's why advocates on both sides of the issue do agree on this.
Again, be aggressive, ask questions.
In other words, when someone comes into your hospital room to treat you, don't just ask who they are, ask what they're trained to do. Diana Olick, CBS News, Boston.
Weeds keep coming back? Then kill the roots with Roundup. No root, no weed, no problem. Roundup.
Bryant dealer to the rescue and get Bryant's quiet 2-speed plus air conditioner. Its lower speed can lower cooling bills up to 60%. Call Bryant to the rescue. 1-800-HOT-SAVE.
For 15 years, we've taken good care of each other.
We sure have.
And to take better care of our health, we've started drinking Ensure.
More than a vitamin supplement, Ensure is a delicious drink with all the nutrients adults need to help stay healthy, active, be energetic.
Drink Ensure as a meal.
Or in between meals.
Ensure is even recommended #1 by doctors as a source of complete balanced nutrition.
Ensure. To your health, honey.
To our health.
Also try Ensure High Protein. It's low in saturated fat.
Should U.S. troops get involved in the mess in Bosnia? Republican presidential candidates Patrick Buchanan and Senator Dick Lugar debate the issue on Face the Nation Sunday.
Almost 50 years after World War II's end in the Pacific, Japan is still agonizing over what to say about it. The upper house of Parliament votes next week on a lower house resolution that has left just everyone unhappy. James Hattori has our report.
Despite compromised language, when Japan's war resolution came to a vote in Parliament, several factions staged a boycott. The result, a half-empty chamber that yielded, say critics, a half-hearted gesture. To its neighbors, especially Korea and China, Japan during World War II was a brutal aggressor, invading, colonizing, even forcing women into government-sponsored brothels. The resolution offers condolences to war victims and expresses regret, but carefully avoids an apology. Japanese veterans groups say there's nothing to apologize for, that it was wartime and Japan did no worse than other countries.
They certainly don't want to think their fathers, grandfathers made a big mistake.
Some conservative politicians claim Japan was fighting to liberate Asia from white colonialism. Though Japan was defeated, other Asian countries were able to gain independence, this lawmaker says. That kind of talk still incites tempers in South Korea, which Japan occupied for 35 years. And when Japanese leaders visit China, which suffered hundreds of thousands of deaths, including many civilians, in the rape of Nanjing, there's still an unspoken air of mistrust.
Without a sincere apology to our neighbors, neighboring countries, we won't have an everlasting peace.
Japan's resolution was to be the centerpiece of commemorations marking the 50th anniversary of the end of World War II. But now, instead of helping to heal old wounds, it's threatening to inflame them. James Hattori, CBS News, Tokyo.
And Kentucky Derby winner Thunder Gulch did it again, holding on to take the third jewel in horse racing's Triple Crown, the mile-and-a-half Belmont Stakes. Star Standard was second and Citadine third as Thunder Gulch gave trainer D. Wayne Lucas a record 5th straight victory in a Triple Crown race.
No 2 feet are exactly alike, not even yours. The wraparound cushioning in Easy Spirit's new walking shoe conforms to your foot, so you feel like walking more. The more you walk, the better you feel. The better you feel, the more you walk. If anything stops you, it won't be your shoes. The new Easy Spirit. Inside's your own personal walking shoe. Outside, there's a whole world.
Efferdent kills 4 million bacteria brushing can leave behind. That's right, 4 million. So every time you brush, clean with Efferdent. Efferdent. Every time, every day.
Weeds keep coming back? Then kill the roots with Roundup. No root, no weed, no problem. Roundup.
Frank said he'd really like to take a relaxing vacation this year. I've got just the place.
Honey, when you're this relaxed, don't you feel more romantic?
Oh, it's been great, sweetheart.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
These Carnival cruises just keep getting better and better.
Like you, honey.
The teenage girl who lived here was murdered, her killers sentenced to death.
We live for the day that she died.
Now her father wants to watch the executions, but there's a catch. His state doesn't allow it, yet. Witness to an execution. Should victims' families be able to watch? Eye on America, Monday on the CBS Evening News.
Well, with House Speaker Gingrich saying he is not running for president, but in New Hampshire this weekend on a trip that has all the trappings of a campaign swing, and with a passel of announced candidates running earlier and harder than ever, we thought it would be a good time to look at what makes the best springboard to the White House. That's our final story in our Washington notebook, the White House finding the best road to get there.
We face the future with confidence and with courage. We are American.
You can never be absolutely certain why Americans come to believe one person is qualified to be president and another isn't. But history does offer some clues on which jobs provide the best springboards.
A war hero, an effective governor of a state, which has a nonpartisan kind of ring to it. That has always been the best route to the presidency.
Historian Alan Lichtman agrees, but points out that what constitutes a presidential springboard has clearly run in cycles.
You go through various periods in which there are different pathways to the White House.
First came the secretaries of state. Last century came a cluster of military heroes. This century brought a wave of senators, and in heavy numbers, governors.
When you've been a governor, you've actually made executive decisions, you've actually run something.
And governors who've run for president in recent years have capitalized on an anti-Washington feeling, says presidential scholar Joan Hoff.
Sometimes governors have run as outsiders. This is certainly true of Reagan and I think of Carter and also of Clinton. They pretend at least that they're Washington outsiders because they're governors, and I think that has some popular appeal.
Congratulations. That I am a candidate for the presidency of the United States.
So in Campaign 96, the candidates who are running or getting ready to run have pretty much the backgrounds you'd expect. Senators, governors and former governors. And there's a new category of political commentator. But it's not surprising that the year's most talked about non-candidate is a former military leader. And if you take Speaker Gingrich at his word that he is not running, then you find only one presidential candidate who's currently serving in the House of Representatives. And that's not surprising either. Going directly from the House to the White House has proven the worst way to run for president. James Garfield in the early 1800s is the only person who's managed to do that. Obviously, it's hard for a member of Congress to become known outside his or her home district.
The House is a huge, disorganized rabble. Most of us love it, but it is not the place where people acquire the image of probity, national unity, statesmanship that Americans seem to like in their presidents.
In fact, polling has shown that what Americans seek first in a president is someone they can trust to remain calm and do the right thing in a crisis. It's been harder and harder for anyone to demonstrate those traits in the highly polarized, increasingly partisan atmosphere that has characterized Washington in recent years. No wonder even insiders want to be seen as outsiders these days. That's the news. Tomorrow on Sunday Morning with Charles Osgood, the photographer of a Little League Field of Dreams in Baltimore. Then on Face the Nation, politics and the U.S. role in the world with Republican presidential candidates Richard Lugar and Pat Buchanan. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York.
Experience CBS News.
The show heads to the beach for a Summertime Bash, the Women's Pro Beach Volleyball Tour, live Sunday on the CBS Sports Show.
This is CBS.